Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is time for Week 11 NFL predictions. Week 10 was a nice one. My Seahawks absolutely violated the Arizona Cardinals. And a couple other games happened. We had probably two of the worst primetime games of all time, with the beginning on Thursday night with the Raiders and Broncos. You think the Broncos might violate the Raiders too, like 28 to 10, 28-17, maybe 35-10, 35 to 3. I don't know, right? No, it's 10 to 7. The game ended at 10 to 7. So we all think, okay, well, the Eagles and Packers theoretically is a peak matchup, right? That might be a higher scoring game, maybe at least in the 20s, right? Maybe 24-20, 24-21, something like that, right? Nope. Also 10 to 7. Here is my predictions. Sorry, my cat's scratching herself in the background. Had a pretty solid week, for the most part. Got a couple of my earlier games wrong. For some reason, the Panthers lost to the Saints, and at this point, I'm kind of just like, I'm sort of done believing the Panthers that they can really do anything. I don't know, man, because they'll do this thing to where they'll go out and beat a team that's generally better than them, but then they'll lose to a team that's worse than them, which makes absolutely no sense. And I get it, any given Sunday, but come on, man. The Panthers need to win this game to stay even close in the NFC West, not NFC West, NFC South. Um, with them losing this game, I mean, they beat the Packers. Okay, that was crazy, but they didn't beat the Saints somehow. But it's whatever. So yeah, week 10 though started with two terrible games. Well, ended with it started with a terrible game and it ended with a terrible game. Hopefully, week 11 ain't anything like that. The Patriots beat the fucking they're gonna beat the Jets 7-3, 7-5. They get a safety. I hope not, man. Overall, it's been a nice week of football. It's really starting to. I know I say this almost every single video. It's really heating up. We are in a point where the season's almost over, sort of, not really, but we're getting there, which is super sad. It's making me sad. But like, I'm gonna be like so sad when I can't make these videos anymore. Generally, I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. This is like a huge part of my content now. It's at least if I don't get like a normal video out, I always have at least these videos to rely on to at least have something out. Speaking of which, future videos are coming out soon. I might be making a video to talk about the whole new YouTube policy, making it where, I don't know, I guess stuff with video games. I'll look more into it. I gotta look more into it, obviously, because I'm a creator myself. I gotta know what they're doing. But overall, week 10 was crazy. Week 11 has some nice matchups too. One of the biggest ones, in my opinion, is Seahawks versus the Rams. This is arguably, potentially, an NFC Championship preview. Who knows? Or it's at least a playoff preview or something. These two teams are arguably two of the best teams in the NFC. I feel like, and you could say, oh, well, the Eagles are. Yeah, the Eagles technically are, sort of, but I feel like if the Eagles right now, the current Eagles, went against the Rams, I think the Rams would best beat them this time. And I think if they went against the Seahawks would beat them. That's just might be a hot take, but I don't know. I feel like the Rams in Seattle, Seahawks and Rams, they're really good. Anyways, our very first game of the week is Patriots versus the Jets. Um, the Jets are an embarrassingly bad team. They beat the Browns by, I don't know, sucking magic, I guess. But I mean, what's the point of winning that game? I know no team wants to purposely tank, but if you're the Jets, just purposely tank as much as possible. You have a dog shit quarterback in Justin Fields. And granted, I'm not sure if they should get a premium pick, like a top 3 pick, and just draft another quarterback to waste his talent and ruin them, because I feel like there's something wrong with the Jets. Maybe there's just something wrong with this team where they just cannot develop a quarterback properly. They had Sam Darnold. Guess what happened with him? He went to the Vikings and balled out. People instantly thought like, oh, well, it's just because he's on the Vikings. He won't do the same on the Seahawks. Guess what? He's doing even better on the Seahawks. So I don't want to hear we're saying, oh, well, it was a 1 year thing. And then Justin Fields, obviously, he came there, and he sucks. I mean, he sucked his entire career, but he sucks. And Aaron Rodgers, he's arguably playing better this year than he was with the Jets, but I don't know, man. I feel like the Jets are just a cursed team, and they sold their soul to win that Super Bowl like 50 years ago. I don't know if it was actually 50 years ago. My math might be wrong, horribly wrong. But they won a Super Bowl a long, long time ago. Anyways, into this prediction. I mean, I know trap games can happen, but the Patriots are on fire. They're back. All right, I'm. They're back to dominating. I think. I don't think they're gonna like again be like their exact old dynasty, but they're back to at least being a contender. It's like that one thing with Thanos where he says you couldn't live with your own failure. Where'd that bring you? Back to me. The Patriots are back, man, and I'm not sure. It's wild, man. It's wild to see the Patriots go from having a not so good season last year and the season before to being eight and what are they 8-2? They're 8-2, I think, right? Or they? Yeah, they're 8-2. They're looking good. The Patriots are looking really good. I mean, I think one thing a lot of people say, "Oh, it's their easy schedule." Like, no team can choose their schedule. And what do you want them to lose to these teams? You want them to lose to these dog shit teams they play? Because then that's just that argument of saying like a team has an easy schedule is low key a dumb argument. You know, that's like people because people have been saying like, "Oh, the Seahawks don't have that hard of a schedule." Like, okay, so you want us to lose to the Saints because it shouldn't matter what your who your opponents are. Winning is what matters, and that's what's I don't know. It's a silly argument in my opinion. You know, and who knows? Honestly, the Patriots might not be the legit, and they make the playoffs and they face a legit team and they lose in people's opinions. However, I would say the Bills are a pretty tough opponent. I understand it's a divisional matchup, but I don't know. I think, and they also beat the Bucks. Right? The Bucks aren't fully healthy, but they're a good team too. And but I mean, they beat them pretty handily. They handled them. You know, it was only 23 to what 23, 26 or something, only or 28 or something because they got a late touchdown. So I don't know. I think the Patriots are a really good team, and I think they should win this game. You know, obviously the Jets are terrible. Obviously, again, trap games exist. Any upset can happen, but not with the Jets. The Jets are their two wins are against the poo stains in Cleveland and the Cincinnati Bungles. I don't believe this terrible Jets team will be able to do anything against this on fire Patriots team. I got the Patriots win this game pretty handily, honestly. I feel like the Patriots might put like 20 plus points and the Jets probably put up like 10 maybe. But Loki, the Jets are bad. In my opinion, again, if I'm the Jets, you just move on from Justin Fields and blow once the season's over. And whatever draft pick you get, I mean, if they have a really high draft pick, like legit the number one overall pick, I don't even know if they should take a quarterback because they might just waste his talent too. Well, I'm sorry, we're getting off totally sidetracked. We're talking shit about the Jets, but the almost said the Bills. Patriots will win this game with relative ease. Honestly, I got the Patriots win this game. Jets suck. All right, next game is an early ass game for you morning folks. We have the Washington Commanders versus the Miami Dolphins. 2, 3, and 7 teams. Commanders are coming off of a violation game against the Lions, while the Dolphins are probably coming off their biggest win of the year over the Bills. Granted, I mean they had really no reason to win that game, but they did. So that's their Super Bowl, you know. But um, I don't know. When it comes to these type of games where both teams are generally bad, it's really hard to pick because I think one thing though, the Commanders they have not been playing well at all this year. I mean, even when Jaden Daniels was healthy, they weren't playing like themselves last year, and they were even close to how they played last year with how good they were. I mean, they've regressed hard. They've regressed really hard, and I'm not going to say it's Jaden Daniels' fault because this defense isn't very good, and honestly, the offense outside of maybe Terry McLaurin is honestly really mediocre. So, and even Terry McLaurin hasn't been playing that well either this year, and he's been injured too. So, and Jay and Daniels is obviously out this game still, I think. So, I mean, this is just one of those games that's kind of hard to predict, but I feel like the Dolphins are like 10% less garbage, I think. Um, so I think the Dolphins can win this game. Maybe I mean they're capable of putting 30 on the Bills. I think they'll probably have no trouble doing something similar against the Commanders. But the problem is, this is a brand new environment. No NFL team has played in Spain. Obviously, you know it's a brand new environment. Not saying that that might affect the game for sure. I think again, whoever can handle the travel better will win this game, or whatnot. It is again across the ocean, so far, far away. You know, very far away game for both teams. Granted, both Washington and Miami, they're at least on the East Coast, so you know, I think the Dolphins could win this game though. Probably, I feel like the Dolphins. Plus, again, they have their starting quarterback. Even if Tua hasn't been playing that well, they at least have their starting quarterback. Unlike the Commanders, and I feel like the Dolphins' offense is a bit more. It's a bit more high powered than the Commanders' offense. So In my opinion, I got the Dolphins win this game, even though both teams were bad. Dolphins will secure this win to move to 4-7 for no reason. But obviously, I mean, hope they don't tie. NFL should low-key get rid of ties. Ties are just so stupid, I think. They really are. And that was a random side topic. I got the Dolphins win this game. It's in Spain, early ass game. Not sure who's gonna wake up to watch it. I don't even think Dolphins fans are gonna be willing to wake up to watch it. But yeah, Dolphins win this game. You know, Commanders again without Jane Daniels. This team isn't very good this year. They've definitely fallen off hard, and it's gonna be a tough loss for them. But the Dolphins win it. All right, our next morning game, we have the Green Bay Packers going against the New York Giants. The Packers coming off of two home losses, which they haven't done in a while. They haven't lost two home games in a row in a while. But this is a sort of important game for the Packers, I think, because they're 5-3-1. And I've already spoke about ties. I think ties are stupid and they shouldn't exist because honestly, it just fucks up seeding. It fucks up all that stuff a little too much because I guess a tie counts as a win almost, or it weighs more. So I don't know, but it affects that kind of stuff too much. But point being, Packers are 5-3-1. Obviously, you know they should either just be 5-4, 6-3. But nevertheless, the division in the NFC North is getting extremely tight. We have the Lions and Bears, who are both 6-3, while the Packers are 5-3-1. Packers lose this game, they go to 5-4-1, and then if the Vikings win their game, which I forgot who they're playing this week, they're playing the Chart. I don't know. I'll check when I get back to it. But if the Vikings win their game, then the Vikings are also back in it, and then the Packers are like, uh-oh, you know, the division's falling out of our hand because yeah, we all know the Packers beat Vikings week one, but I don't think enough people realize that week one slumps can happen. You know, not every team's going to be cooking exactly at week one, and that's what happened. Now the Lions are cooking. Now I won't say the Lions are the best team in the NFL, but you know, again, this is an important game for the Packers because I feel like if they drop it and do go to 5-4-1, I mean, the Lions are going to pull ahead. The fucking Bears are going to pull ahead if they can win their game. I mean, the odds are not in the Packers' favor right now because again, the Bears they're not the best team, but they're looking solid, you know. And the Lions are still really good too. So Packers need to win this game. I think they should be able to. This Giants team, they kind of just blew a lead to the Bears. So despite it being an important game for the Packers, I mean, I think they should be able to win this game just fine. If they find a way to lose, then maybe just start time to have some conversations about the Packers. Obviously, we all saw the Monday night game. There's some horrible play calling in that game. I think the Packers' decision to constantly just try to throw it deep for some reason is stupid because you're throwing the ball against a good Eagles secondary that have shut down your air attack all day, and they're at a 4th and 1. Oh wait, no, that was later. But I just don't know why they keep on doing this to where they just kept on trying to throw it deep and just waste downs. They'll do it on a first down, boom. Then a second down, they'll try it again. And third down, they finally tried not throwing it deep, but then it's too late. So we saw some horrible play calling by both teams, really. But the Packers, they got to get their shit together or else the division's going to get out of their hand. I mean, it already is technically right now. The Lions are back on top. But Bears should be able to win this game. The Giants are depleted. They're injured. They're not looking great. Jackson Dart is not playing this game. Jameis Winston is playing this game. Now, granted, we might have a Jameis Winston masterclass where he throws for 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, but still wins. So, who knows? But I got the Packers win this game. I think they'll be able to, especially, you know, Micah Parsons going against that mediocre offensive line, you know. Yeah. Packers should win this game. If they find a way to lose for them all, it's not looking good. But Packers win this game, relative ease. All right, next game is the NFC South showdown. We have the Panthers versus the Falcons. Panthers are 5-5. Falcons are 3-6. Both teams lost last week. Falcons at least kept their game close, while the Panthers put up a touchdown and that's it. Panthers honestly lost in pretty embarrassing fashion, almost 17-7. They again against a formerly 1-8 team, and the Falcons put up a pretty good fight against one of the best teams in the NFL. So, with how it's going, I don't believe in the Panthers anymore. I didn't think they were a playoff team by any means, but I thought they could maybe make a push. at least to come in second place in their division, or maybe make a wild card spot. Granted, I don't think they'd get past the wild card, but I think they could have done something, but they didn't. Sorry, I had to keep my cat away from going towards the Xbox. But I think the Falcons should honestly be able to win this game. I mean, the Falcons. I mean, both of these teams have honestly been really disappointing all year. Falcons a little bit more because they're a really talented team roster wise, but for some reason just don't play very well. But the Falcons are better than the Panthers. They're going to get revenge for that 30-0 blowout that they faced a while ago. And well, the Panthers should lose this game. To be honest, I mean, they're kind of folding. You know, they're not playing as well as they should be. Most of the Falcons too. But neither of these teams, and I'm not saying like the Panthers are extremely talented team either, but I definitely thought they could do a little bit better this year. But I digress. They are 5-5. They can easily turn their season around. But not saying I don't think that's going to happen. But Falcons are a better team. Falcons will get revenge from earlier in this year, and the Falcons will win this game, I think. So I get the Falcons to win this game. All right, our next game, we have another NFC. Well, we have an NFC North showdown between the Bears and Vikings. Very important game for both teams, to be honest. If the Bears can win this game, if the Bears can win, they can get to 7-3, and they can look the best they've looked in a really long time. And, you know, obviously they could still fold and collapse on that 7-3 lead, but 7-3 is 7-3. You know, if they can get there, you know, and keep winning, keep playing consistently, this team can maybe touch the playoffs for the first time in a while. On the other hand, the Vikings, they are coming off a really good season last year. Obviously, I mean, I'm talking about like it's week one, but they had a really good year last year. This year, they're 4-5. They have had a lot of sloppy play, but they've had a couple good moments too. But again, I just don't know. This team is kind of on and off. There's games where they play great, and there's times where they play sloppy, and there's times where they let a game get ahead of them and they just lose. Like they had a chance to beat the Ravens last week, but they didn't. And you know they're 4-5. The Packers are 5-3-1. First off, again, if the Bears can get to 7-3, that keeps them ahead of Green Bay. And if the Vikings can win, granted they won't be ahead of them, but they'll be right behind them and could easily snatch that third place spot if Green Bay keeps slipping up. I mean, I don't know. Caleb Williams, he's he's all right. He hasn't had like an elite game performance by yet, in my opinion, at all. But neither has the Vikings. I don't think there's been a whole lot of games with the Vikings where they've looked elite, you know? So this game is a little hard to predict, in my opinion. Again, it's a divisional matchup. You could really see anything happen. I predicted the Vikings to win last week, and I was wrong. I don't know. I don't know these. I obviously don't keep up with either of these teams, of course, too much. I just got to go off who I think generally will win. I think. Shit, man. I think the Bears honestly could possibly win this game. You know, the Bears are again. They have momentum. They're 7-3. They're looking good. They know if they win this game, they generally have a higher chance of making the playoffs. Not saying because if they lose this game, obviously they'll be 6-4. That won't be the worst thing ever, but you know, I think the Bears could generally pull it off. It just depends on what kind of game we get from the Vikings. If we're going to get a good game, a sloppy game, who knows? But if Caleb Williams doesn't play Dookie, or if JJ McCarthy doesn't play Dookie, I don't know. I hope we generally get a nice matchup where both these teams put up like 30 points in this close game, like 35-38. But who knows? At the end of the day, I think I'm going to go with the Bears this time. I think the Bears can maybe pull it off and secure a win in the division and, you know, get to 7-3. So I have the Bears winning. Hopefully we get a good performance by Caleb Williams or at least somebody. I guess whoever's quarterback plays better, again, it's a team game. So whoever just plays better on either side of the ball, whatever, the better defense, better offense, we'll see. But I got the Bears winning this one. All right, next game, we have the Houston Texans facing off against the Tennessee Titans. The Texans pulled off a pretty insane upset against the Jags. And I don't think CJ Stroud's playing this game. I mean, I feel like even if he's not, the Texans will win this game. Last time they played the Titans, they smoked them. Sorry, if you heard dingling in the background, it's my cat. She's eating right now. The Titans are a bad team. they're 1-8 for a reason. You don't go 1-8 by mistake. You have to be generally a bad team to go 1-8, and they're going to be 1-9. I think the Texans again. They came up for a really nice win over the Jags, and I mean they're 4-5. They win this game, they can get to 5-5, and I don't necessarily think they can salvage their season, but maybe. You know, it's a long shot, but getting to 5-5, it's possible. And 5-5 is better than 4-6, obviously. And they can maybe get to 6-5 and 7-5. And, you know, they can generally maybe pull something off, but it would take a lot. I don't think they can do it, but I mean, in that sense, I don't think they'll make a playoff push. But I definitely think they can win this game. The Titans are bad at this point. I mean, they're not really. It doesn't even seem like they try to win half the time. Just the one win they got, that didn't seem like they were trying either. But Texans win this game. Honestly, I mean, it might be another shutout, but I don't think that'll happen twice. Maybe, who knows? But CJ Stroud, Davis Mills, whoever's starting, they'll beat this team. They'll beat this Titans team. So Texans will win this game and at least get to 5-5. All right, next game we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Buffalo Bills. This game is a little odd, in my opinion at least, because the Buccaneers aren't fully healthy, but the Bills are coming off a pretty stinking loss to the Dolphins. So, in my opinion, though, I don't think the Bills are going to drop 2 games in a row. And the Bucks, I mean, they're not even fully healthy. It's what sucks because I feel like the Bucks would be, honestly, they probably could have beat the Patriots last week if they were like 100%. Granted, you could say that about a lot of teams. Like if the Niners were 100%, they'd probably be leading the division right now. But I don't believe that because they're mid, even when fully healthy. I don't. I think I'm leaning with the Bills because I just don't believe this team could lose 2 games in a row. I know this Bucks team, they're good too. But Baker Mayfield has been playing really well, but I just think this Bills team, they're not gonna drop 2 games in a row. They're not. And if they do, that's crazy. And the Bucks can stay on top. Granted, it doesn't really matter how many games the Bucks lose. I think they got this division on lock. You know, the Panthers are pretty mediocre. The Falcons are 3-6, and the Saints are 1-8, 2-8. So, I mean, as long as they don't lose too many games and allow the Panthers to somehow uppercut them and take it, they'll be fine. But the Buccaneers, I just they're facing a tough Bills team. You know, I know they just lost the Dolphins, but the Bucks aren't fully healthy. They can't play at full efficiency, and the Bills are at least healthier, and they can certainly play hard, and I think they will. So I think the Bills will win this game. Sorry, Bucks. I know they're going to fall to 6-4, but they'll still be on top of their division, and they'll bounce back. But yeah, I got the Bills winning this game. Josh Allen will play well. You know, this team, Bills team, they'll get back in the win column and they'll get to 7-3 because that loss to the Dolphins was pretty hard, you know, because again, the Patriots are 8-2. The Patriots are really pulling ahead and they might win the division. But the Bills know that, so they got to start locking in or else it's generally going to happen, which at this point it probably will. But who knows? I got the Bills win this game. All right, our next game here we have the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars that just came off a pretty stinky loss against the not CJ Stroudless Texans. And I'm gonna be honest, the Chargers, they beat the Steelers pretty handily. The game would have just been 25-3 if it wasn't for that late garbage time touchdown by the Steelers. Let's be real. The Jags, they are really consistent at disappointing, and they haven't been consistent since that one good year they had. I think that's going to continue, and they're going to fumble, and they're going to lose this game. The Chargers, some people expect them to lose last week to the Steelers because of the fact that their offensive line was injured. Yet they handled the Steelers very well, and the Steelers' defense was non-existent. And that's the problem with the Steelers as well. Is for some reason, despite that talent on that defense, don't they have like the most expensive defense? I don't know, something like that. But they handled them really well, and the Chargers will do the exact same thing to the Jags. The Jags are unfortunate without Travis Hunter. He's out for I think this week. So I mean, really, this is a Chargers win this game. Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. He's better than Trevor Lawrence. Hot take. Justin Herbert is better than Trevor Lawrence. I mean, actually, that's not even a hot take. That's just truth. I mean, people always bring up that one playoff game. Like, okay, well, you can't entirely say that collapse was straight up on him. All right, he definitely didn't play perfect, but it wasn't on him 100%. But still, Justin Herbert is better than Trevor Lawrence. And the Chargers are just a better team than the Jaguars, and they're going to win this game. So the Chargers will win this game. Jaguars are done for, I think, to be honest. So so the better team, aka the Los Angeles Chargers, will win this game over the Jacksonville Jaguars. AFC North showdown. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This game is extremely important for the Steelers because the Ravens are right behind them. The Ravens are officially on their way back. They're 4-5. The Ravens are generally on their ass. And if the Steelers lose and the Ravens win, well, I mean, at that point, it's probably over for the Steelers because, like, the Ravens, when they're ahead of steam, they're ahead of steam, and when they're on fire, they're on fire. They're gonna take care of it, man. All right, sorry for the random ramble about the Ravens and stuff, but overall, this is a odd game because again, the Steelers generally have been generally fumbling their lead in the AFC North. Because at one point we all thought like, oh, the Ravens are done and the Steelers are going to take the division with ease. Now the Ravens are right on their ass, and the Steelers have dropped like I think what 4 of their 5 last games or something. I think they've lost a majority of their most recent games. You know, they lost last week to the they lost to the Chargers. You know, it's not looking good for the Steelers. They haven't been playing well. Their defense has generally been on and off. I don't know this. Bengals offense is fully capable of putting up 30 plus points easily. But then you look at the Bengals defense and they're horrible. So it's kind of just like stoppable force versus stoppable object, I guess, or movable object, right? Because the Steelers defense isn't that great, to be honest. They don't play that well. Half of the time. They just don't play well. I don't understand what causes it, but they'll come out and they'll just won't do enough. They won't do enough and they'll allow 30 points to the Jets. And they won't stop the enemy team's offense. They won't be able to stop the opposing team's offense on 3rd down and 4th down. So this is tough. Obviously the Bengals won last time. I don't think they're capable of sweeping the Steelers, so I think the Steelers can probably take this one, although barely, because I just think the Steelers have been falling off for well over a month at this point, and their division lead is very slim at this point, and it's practically non-existent, and they'll win this game, but again, the Ravens are still in their ass. The Ravens will still probably take the division by the end of the year, and yeah, but overall, Steelers will win this game. I think the Bengals are not very good, and yeah, so I got the Steelers winning it. All right, next game. Speaking of which, I just realized there's a shit ton of divisional matchups this week. Anyways, we got the 49ers versus the Cardinals. Cardinals will be without Marvin Harrison Jr., and I don't know if Kyler Murray's playing. I don't think he is. Jacoby Brissett had a pretty mediocre game against the Seahawks. They got their ass kicked, okay? The Cardinals played like shit against my Seahawks, and once the Seahawks kind of took their foot off the gas, the Cardinals got some garbage time scores, but I mean, come on. It's not like it doesn't mean anything. But the Niners got touched. They got touched bad by the Rams. So 2 teams that are violated will be trying to beat each other, I guess, or win against the other one. I don't really know what to go with this one because I hate the 49ers. I really do. I just can't stand them. They're such a annoying team in their fan base. Not everyone, of course, but some of y'all are so annoying. The Cardinals are bad too, though. I think I have to go with the Niners. I think I have to because there's no way the Cardinals win this game. The Cardinals are without Marvin Harrison Jr., who is an underwhelming receiver anyways. This Cardinals doesn't have a lot of offense. Granted, the Cardinals defense can occasionally stand tall and be really good, or it can let up 44 points. So, I mean, there's 2 scenarios. We get a lower scoring game like last time, and the Cardinals manage to come out with a win, like 17-15 or something. Or the Niners beat the shit out of them, or something else. Maybe it's 0-3 at the end of the game. The Niners are so injured, though, it's just hard for them to compete. They're so injured, it is hard for them to do anything. Their offense is not very good. Their defense is cannot generate a pass rush. So you look at the Niners against this Cardinals team, which is really mediocre too. Um, I don't really know who's going to come out on top. I actually have no idea who I think is going to win because again, Cardinals are without Marvin Harrison Jr. Cardinals do not have Kyler Murray. I don't even think the Niners are going to have Brock Purdy though. Where the fuck is Brock Purdy? Is he dead? Is he the dead body that Mac Jones apparently saw? Because I'm not sure if you guys remember this. There was this thing where Mac Jones, I guess, saw a dead body. I think it was Brock Purdy. Because where is he? And I don't know. I don't know. I think I have to go with the Niners. I think just because the Cardinals offense is nothing to be afraid of. This Cardinals team is just not good. I think our defense are a bit better because they have a lot of manpower. They have a lot of depth on that defense, and they can just throw men at you. They can just throw as many men as you need. All right, as they need, they can throw as many men as possible at you to stop you. Granted, half the time it's not enough, but the Niners offense is again depleted. The Niners defense is depleted. I have to go with the Niners. I think. I mean, neither of these teams are very great. The Niners are slightly better, I think. Just gotta lean on Chris McCaffrey and they should win this game. So I got the Niners winning this game. Sorry for the abrupt cutoff. I accidentally pressed the red button, which stops recording. But I got the Niners winning this game. I think the Cardinals are they're too underwhelming of a team to win. So I got the Niners winning this game. All right, next game, which is arguably game of the week in my opinion, we have the Seattle Seahawks versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams will be showing off their nice, shiny black uniforms, which, to be honest, in my opinion, is one of the better rivalry uniforms. Obviously, I love the Seahawks one, but the Rams one is nice, in my opinion. But even though as a Seahawks fan, I won't slander it. It's a pretty good looking uniform. It's a pretty good looking jersey. Anyways, this is a insane game and is probably one of the toughest tests for the Seahawks this year, outside of maybe the Colts. We lost to the Bucs all the way back in Week 5, but generally, I feel like if something went a little bit, obviously, if it wasn't for that late interception, the Seahawks could have probably pulled it off. But nevertheless, this is probably one of the toughest games for the Seahawks all year because this is potentially for the division right here. Little things matter comes towards winning the division. The Seahawks swept the Cardinals, and the Rams split with the Niners. So it's very important that the Seahawks also split with the Niners. Obviously, if it comes to the point where either team has the same record, let's just say the Rams somehow split with the Cardinals and the Seahawks obviously swept them. That's a big thing. Obviously, again, this is a big game right here. This is generally a potential NFC championship showdown, or at least a divisional round showdown, or something like that. This is definitely an insane game. Both of these teams are hot. Both of these teams are really good. Matthew Stafford's having an MVP type season. Sam Darnold did as well, proving that his time in Minnesota was not a one-year fluke. Now, I'm a Seahawks fan, obviously. I will admit this is a really tough game, but one thing that makes me happy is the Seahawks are extremely good on the road. They don't lose very often on the road. We haven't lost. I think we're on a 10-game or 11-game winning streak on the road. It's a tough game, that's for sure. This is probably one of our toughest opponents all year. That's in division at least, obviously. Outside of the division is probably Colts, but really, again, this Rams team is good. This Rams team is good. Puka Nacua is good. Devontae Adams is still good. Matthew Stafford, at whatever age he is, Unk status essentially is still good. This is a tough game for the Seahawks. It's a really tough game, but I believe the Seahawks can generally pull it off. I feel like we could. Shut down Matthew Stafford. Granted, that's hard, but we got a really good pass rush. Okay, our defense has generally been playing really well. If our secondary can slow down Puka Nacua even a little bit, that's a huge thing. And the Seahawks just got to play good on offense. Don't have stupid plays. Don't have bad turnovers. Don't fumble it. Don't throw picks. Get picks instead from Matthew Stafford. Granted, that's hard because, again, he's playing sharp. Just find a way to win. And I think the Seahawks can generally do that. I know I sound like a biased Seahawks fan, but obviously I'm not going to pick against my own team. Nevertheless, though, I do look forward to this matchup. It's a tough game for both teams because, yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be cinema, and it probably should be prime time, but obviously a little too late to change it now. But anyways, I got the Seahawks winning. I feel like we can generally pull it off and get this win. All right, next game we have the Kansas City Chiefs coming off their bye against the Denver Broncos, coming off a terrible, sloppy Thursday night game, 10-7. Let's be real. Listen, we all know the Chiefs are definitely not the same, but they are coming off a bye, which was really convenient timing for them. This is an interesting game because the Broncos offense generally has been like really weird, to where they'll generally play like fucking shit and won't do they'll do absolutely nothing, but they'll do just a little bit of enough to win. Well, the Chiefs have just been really odd because there's time, they haven't looked downright horrible at all, but they're definitely not the same Chiefs that have been to multiple Super Bowls and shit like that, have been dominating the AFC for years now. Like most people, I'm praying on a Chiefs downfall. I want the Broncos to win this game. I hope they can. I feel like the Broncos defense is enough to absolutely shut down this Chiefs offense. And this Broncos offense hopefully can do enough against this Chiefs defense. They just have to do enough to score at least. Score more than the Chiefs at least. That's all that matters. Broncos have a really elite defense. I feel like sometimes they don't get enough credit for their elite defense. No, well, actually, they do. But I think the Broncos can win this game. It's at home for them. They're a great team. As long as the offense doesn't stink, they will win. So I have the Broncos pulling it off with this game and sending the Chiefs to 5-5 and generally making the chances of the Chiefs making the playoffs even lower. Broncos win this game, hopefully, because we need a year without the Broncos in the play. We need a year without the Chiefs in the playoffs. We just need 1 year. I don't care. 1 year without the Chiefs in the playoffs would be miracle magic. That's all. The Broncos will win this game at home over the Chiefs, and it'll be huge for divisional races and playoff stuff. So Broncos win this game. They'll win it. And yeah, hopefully we don't have to deal with the Chiefs in the playoffs this year because it'd be kind of nice just not to have them for once. All right, next game is pretty big for one of his team. We got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Pooh Stains. The Ravens are 4-5. They're right behind the Steelers. If they can get this win, they can get to 5-5. Now, granted, I did pick the Steelers to win over who the fuck are they playing? The Bengals. I almost forgot. I picked the Steelers to win over the Bengals. I'll send the Steelers to 6-4. But the Ravens will generally just again be right behind them at 5-5, and eventually the Ravens will get this division in their hands, I think. But the Browns are bad. The Ravens absolutely beat them pretty hard last time. There's no reason to think they wouldn't do it again. This is gonna be just a short prediction. The Browns just have nothing for this team. I mean, I feel at this point, I think about Myles Garrett, and I'm like, dude, he could have been on a better team, but he chose the money, which granted, good for him. Okay, he's he was already set for life, but now he's really, really set for life. But he chose to stay on this dog shit Browns team. So that's you know, it's only his fault, for choosing to stick with it. Because I feel like any other team would have paid him that money just to have him. But what are you doing? Sorry, my cat's being weird. Anyways. I think the Ravens win this game. Ravens, they should be able to win this game pretty fine. The Browns are terrible on offense. Their defense is the only slightly redeeming factor of this team, but even that, it's not enough to win anything. So the Ravens will win this game, and they'll get to 5-5, which is huge for them to catch up in the AFC North. All right, next game, which is, again, another game of the week contender. Lions versus the Eagles. This is a big battle for both teams. If the Lions can win this game, well, they can do something the Packers couldn't do, and again, get to 7-3 and stay ahead of the Packers. Eagles can win this game. I mean, we already know they're going to win their division in the first place, but this will, again, give the Eagles also even a better chance of potentially ended up with the number 1 seed at the end of the year. But this is a tough game, in my opinion. It's both teams are pretty good. I mean, that's really an understatement, to be honest. Both teams are good. The Steelers. Why did I say Steelers? Fucking the Steelers aren't very good in my opinion. The Lions are a very good team, especially when they're cooking. And why am I thinking of every team except the one team I'm trying to talk about? The Eagles are a bit odd this year. Their offense hasn't looked that great in my opinion. Their offense has not been playing anywhere near as how they played last year with efficiency and also just overall power. They haven't been playing that way. I don't know why, but listen, I'm going to be honest. I think the Lions are a better team right now. I mean, I think with how they're playing, the Lions are playing better than the Eagles, to be honest. Let's just be real. Like, I don't know, man. The Lions put a better fight against the Packers in week 1. and they put up more points than the Eagles did against the Packers. Obviously, that's a big difference, so that doesn't really matter. But I think the Lions can generally pull this off and win this game. I think the Lions, again, they are playing better in my opinion, despite them being 6-3 and the Eagles being 7-2. I think the Lions are just playing a little bit harder. And the Lions actually have competition in the division while the Eagles are benefiting from a weak division. So, obviously, again, you can't choose your divisional opponents or how they play, but still. I'm going to go with the Lions. I think Jared Goff is playing solid. This almost said Eagles. I'm like fucking up on every level right now. This Lions team is playing well. Jahmyr Gibbs is playing well. Their running attack is efficient and deadly. They're going to win this game, I think. I think they'll generally pull it off and beat the Eagles and get to 7-3. So I got the Lions winning this game. The NFL needs to stop this shit. Why do we have to constantly see the Raiders in prime time? Who thought it was a good idea? We got the Raiders and Cowboys. Who's in charge of arranging these primetime games and thinking we want to see the Raiders on two back-to-back games, Thursday night and then Monday night? Who thought that was a good idea? Because to be honest, let's be real, man. It's why, why? Why do we have to see the Raiders and why do we have to see the Cowboys? I understand America's team. Most of America doesn't even like the Cowboys. The Cowboys are a very unlikable team, low-key. Just, again, their fan base is so delusional. Granted, I will give you the Cowboys this. They at least have a Super Bowl more recently than the 49ers. But they haven't touched it since. The Niners have at least been there to choke the lead multiple times. But let's be real. This Raiders team is bad. Maybe the NFL thought the Raiders would be more entertaining this year with Geno Smith under center. But turns out they're just as bad as they were last year. Probably even worse. Cowboys aren't very good either. They lost to the Cardinals last time they played, but they should be able to win this game. If they come out and lose to the Raiders, I think you got to have a real discussion about the Cowboys. Cowboys should win this game, though, with relative ease, to be honest. I mean, the Raiders are the Raiders. They're bad. They're not a good team. Cowboys win this game pretty easily, to be honest. I don't think they have to they don't have to try, in my opinion. I don't think they have to try too much. They just have to play solid and they'll win. So, that's my final pick, and that'll wrap it up for my Week 11 predictions. There's a lot of games in this week. Obviously, every week has plenty of games. A lot of them could flip on me. Seahawks and Rams is one of those games that's generally just a tough one to predict because two very good teams. I don't know. But right now, as it stands, I think my Seahawks can pull it off and beat the Rams. There's a couple of games that could flip on me, But outside of that, I'm confident in the majority of my picks, and I think, I'm going to have a hopefully good record at the end of this week. Thank you guys for watching. I will have more videos coming up soon. Probably not for the rest of this week, at least. Sunday will probably be streaming, maybe. I tried streaming today. I couldn't get it to work for the life. It just wouldn't cooperate. I might make a video talk about the new YouTube policy about violent video games or whatever. That might come out later, though. And, yeah. So, again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and have a great rest of your day.